Yo, yo, get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Well, hello. What's up, my beautiful people? Thank you for joining our show, Monsters of the Madhouse, brought to you by Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm with the phenom, the myth, the legend, Michael. Michael, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's Friday, so how can it not be a good day, Trax? How you doing today?
Yeah, you got no college tomorrow, right, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. I just got to be excuse me, sorry. All right, now that that's out of the way. Yeah, Mizzou's got an early game. They play at 11, so I'll be up a little earlier, but yeah, no school, so that'll be good.
Yeah, and you got what do you call it? Membu watch for us. You can get us updated on that, dude. So no, hey, listen, we want to talk about some really cool stuff with you. I mean, there's a lot of buzz in the air, there's a lot of implications, obviously, rightfully so, everything that's been going on, you know, and you get a couple guys signed. Been a while since you've been on, not too long ago, but I mean, dude, honestly, it feels like a lifetime with all the stuff that's going on with the Bears.
Yeah.
So here's my deal. A lot of people feel that the Bears at this point in the juncture, after getting a couple guards, you know, and rightfully so, some great guys already in the mix, that we need to go out and address the center position in Drew Dalman. And also, we need to go get Trey Hendrickson. So let's flip the script, bro. Let's flip the script on this. Everybody, welcome to the show. Ant-Man, shout out to you. Shout out to Rami. Shout out to Brian Hendren. I'm stealing your co-host for a little bit, man. I hijacked him, so he's still yours on Tuesday night. So, but yeah, let's flip the script, man. Let's see what you got to say, and then let me know when you want me to chime in, all right?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. The Bears already got two guards, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney. I think Tooney, the more accomplished of the two, but still two guys that fill massive needs for the Bears on that interior. But Trax, there's still one hole left on that interior, and that's the center. The center position there. You have presumably 4 of your starters for next year. You're still missing that one, though. You got to have 5. So when you're looking at the center, the draft isn't exactly too deep. You really have just Jared Wilson out of Georgia. That's your main true center, but he's more of a late day 2, early day 3 guy, maybe around 3 or 4. So when you're looking at center, it really comes down to free agency, and I don't think we want Coleman Shelton back. So that kind of leaves you Drew Dalman, Trax, and kind of wondering your thoughts a little bit maybe on where the Bears should go with him and how badly do they need him.
Well, I tell you what, they need a center really badly. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I broke this down for you yet. You're a smart individual. I'm sure you already know. The center is like the focal point. It's the center. It's the O gap. It is so important. I'm going to get a little whiteboard, maybe like a 12 by 12. I recommend you do it too. And you and, Brian can go ahead and hold that up and draw some X's and O's. Baseball for you, whatever it is that you want to do and kind of drive the point home. Seen this on a couple other shows. Shout out to those shows. And I think I'm going to start doing it. But honestly, that guy is so crucial and so important at center. He gets all of the verbiage, all of the he's like a traffic controller, okay? What happens is the QB gets the call from the sideline in his headset, or there's some stuff going on, some hand signals and all this and all that and blah, 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 and whatever. Also, he can Omaha the hell out of it, right? And if he sees something, then he's going to do an audible. Well, that's the same thing with the center. He's going to let his offensive line, his left guard, his right guard, know what's going on. He's going to see this guy is showing me something. I've seen it before. I've seen it in the film room. I know right now from my vantage point that he's coming in hot. So check out the Mike. He's coming in, or the Will or the Sam, or even a safety, whatever. You know where I'm going with this. So he's got to tell the left guard, the right guard, what's going on. If you don't know what the hell's going on, how could you tell the guy what's going on around you? It's not just as simple as snapping the ball and putting it in Caleb's hands. There's so much extra that he has to do. But what's interesting about all of this, Michael, is that for the longest time, we've been beating our hands on the table, begging and crying and asking for a guy just to make a snap so Caleb can actually take the ball. Even going back as far as Justin Fields, Michael, I've seen some balls where he had to go up like Jordan and put a high rocket up there and grab it and then take off and bounce around like a BB in a beer can so we didn't have a play blown up. So, I mean, you asked me to answer your question. The short of it, hell yeah, we need a center. Do we need Drew Dalman? Hell yes. But I'm a little concerned about the price for him. I mean, here's a guy that a couple people had to inform me that, listen, you go get this guy. You go get this guy, and he's asking 23, 24, $25 million. Now, the amount of money that we have on in the building was a lot. And now we've already signed two guys for, I believe, right around, I mean, you're in college. You could probably do the math better than I can. But I'd say we pretty much got for two guys for the price of one in this guy, right? That's basically how I look at it. And a lot of guys were saying, tracks. I know you want this guy. This guy is built like a physical specimen. He's 14 and a half, 15 sacks a year. He's still got plenty of left in the tank, but tracks, we don't want to give up draft capital. We don't want to, you know what I'm trying to say? We don't want to give up a lot of money because we got a lot of holes to fill. I mean, you look at the whole situation where, Ryan Poles is saying, I want to build this thing all the way in and out. And I believe he's really tried to do so, but without Dan Rushar, without an offensive line coach, without any help, he hasn't been able to bounce things off of somebody and do a collaborative effort. They talked about collaboration, but basically he was collaborating with a bunch of idiots. We didn't have an offensive coordinator. We didn't have a defensive coordinator. We didn't have an offensive line coach. Now he's got those guys, no excuses. Now he can get together and try to put it all together and go get those guys. And with Ben Johnson's saying that he wants legit 9 offensive linemen that can do the job. So that way, if a guy goes down, Michael, there's another guy that's coming right up. And it's not a big drop off. You want guys that are above average or average. You don't want guys that are below. So that way, and these guys get hurt, they get injured, they get sick, whatever. They have some Taco Bell. Shout out to Taco Bell. But there's times where you have some Taco Bell and you're like, woo, I'm not coming back for a while, coach. And, so you got to have those guys in position for that, Michael. You go get a guy like Dalman. You go get a guy like Trey Lance. You go get a guy like Myles Garrett. Now all of a sudden you can't go get all those other guys, Brian. So, or Michael, I'm sorry. So, here's the deal. We just picked up these two dudes right here. Okay. We picked up that dude and we picked up that dude. And I'm going to tell you what, I want this dude. I really want him. I don't have a problem with this guy, 3-time Pro Bowler. You talk about all the snaps that he's had, all of that. He's had a ton of snaps, over 1,000 snaps. The guy is freaking there. Just last year alone, that many snaps. The guy is there. He's consistent. He's actually younger. He's actually younger than Thuney. By
Ryan Kelly, right?
Yeah. What's that?
That's Ryan Kelly, right? 78 on the Colts.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly. I'm sorry. You just asked me that question when I'm looking at Thuney, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're all good.
I know what you're saying, though. And this dude, I've heard a lot of good stuff about this guy. These two guys, their overall rating is like 92 or something as far as blocking and whatnot. So I'm really happy with what we got. On paper, it looks great. I'm just saying that if we would have went out and got one guy, in Trey Trey Lance, we might not even be talking about Dalman right now. And going out and get Dalman and over, paying for that guy, I want to see a lot of growth. Listen, I think you've talked to me. We're not one Myles Garrett away. We're not one Trey Smith away from, doing something really big. I think we still got to get a lot more guys in the building. I don't know how you feel about that, Michael. I'm waiting to hear from you, but you asked me, and that's my opinion, brother.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I don't think we're just one superstar edge rusher away, but obviously a Myles Garrett would help, right? I mean, you're filling up that massive gap with one of the premier edge rushers the league's seen, more than likely a future Hall of Famer with Myles Garrett with the awards that he's racked up, and he really just has to add that Super Bowl ring. Now, he did say he wants to play for a contender, so I'm not entirely sure that that's where the Bears are yet.
Yeah.
That's where they're trying to get, especially with these two moves they've already made. They really truly believe they can win now, and they're going to try and win now. Where last year kind of felt like they were just trying to be competitive, not suck too much. That obviously ended up not working out in the Bears' favor. But it really feels like this year they're not just trying to be competitive; they're trying to win. And they're trying to win in one of the hardest divisions in football. So maybe a Myles Garrett would put you over the top in the division. Does it put you over the top in the league, though? Probably not, which is why I'm not sure they go that route, especially with how much Myles Garrett would cost. But there's another option on the table tracks, and that's Trey Hendrickson, current Cincinnati Bengal that's currently up for trade. The Bengals frugal owner decided not to want to pay Hendrickson his asking price of $30 million, and it just an hour ago got reported that would most likely cost a day 2 pick, but I was seeing that would most likely have to be a late second or early third. So the Bears do have an early third.
Yeah.
So they could meet that, but then his new deal would be around $30 million a year. And when you're looking at that number, it's a little steep because you're looking at Max Crosby. He just signed a $35 million extension. I'm not sure
is he younger than Trey or about the same?
I can look that up for you real quickly.
I'm pretty sure they're close.
Crosby's 27.
Okay, 30.
And Hendrickson's 30. So a 3-year younger gap and arguably better is Max Crosby, and he's getting $5 more million than what Hendrickson's asking. I think Hendrickson's asking a little bit too much, but what are your thoughts on that?
So we're right back to it again because I honestly feel like Myles Garrett would be cheaper than that. Obviously didn't have as good of a year. Now I think in the last couple years, Trey Hendrickson has balled out, bro. I mean, flat out balled out. Now you'd have to legit look at those two defensive lines and compare and contrast, like who's really cooking over there. Is Trey doing it all on his own? I'd say not. I think maybe if you looked at it, the Bengals might have a slight, over the Browns. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a slight advantage and whatnot. I don't really know what's going on over there with Myles Garrett, that defensive line and whatnot. But I would look at that. Regardless, at the end of the day, they're both really high price tags. And I still think those two guys, I'm going right back to it, and I'll say it again. I don't think we're one Trey Hendrickson away. I don't think we're one, and if they go down, now what? We saw that with freaking Sweat, and Sweat, he's close to, but not in the same conversation, the same breath as these edge guys. When they go down, we're out, baby. And that's the thing. You go all in on a guy like this, and he goes down, you're very desperate. You have nothing going on. It messes up everything. If you go out and you load up this team, maybe a year or another year, we're away from that. Or we go draft a guy, Michael, and he ends up being one of these guys, and he learns some Sweat. And here's the other thing with that, Michael. Sweat is so close to being one of these guys' ages. I don't want to be in that same situation where I got two guys on my hands at the wrong side of 30, and now it's time to, you know what I'm saying, sign both of these guys at the same time, and we're in the same situation we're back in cap hell with what do you call it? Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace left us a disaster with all those guys, and I feel like we'd be right in that same place, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Yeah, there's definitely a lot of avenues the Bears can go to try and fill that edge because they absolutely need to fill the edge. It was apparent that Montez Sweat took a little bit of a step back last year. I don't think he's bad by any means, but I definitely think you need to complement him with talent on the other side of the
Right.
D line to try and get a pass rush because it definitely fell off last year.
Mhm.
And also adding talent would take away from a lot of attention on Montez Sweat, would allow him to work less double teams, see more single teams. And obviously, when you're good at pass rushers, Montez Sweat, and the more single teams you get, the more you're going to be able to get to the quarterback. But Trax, the
Nice.
Bears Twitter
I
account
like that,
at
buddy.
3 o'clock today, so just about 36 minutes ago,
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting. They just posted a highlight video and it was titled Leave Your Legacy. And it used a lot of old Bears defenders. Jalen Johnson was on there, but it was from not this past year, but 2 years ago because he was wearing 33 still. But it was just a bunch of defensive highlights. But you know who was featured in there the
What's that?
most?
Huh.
Khalil Mack. And I think
Khalil.
that's a little bit of an interesting choice if you're trying to post a highlight video for a guy that's a pending free agent.
Mm,
And with free agency opening on Monday, it almost feels like a little bit of a sales pitch, Tracks, because there's a lot of good defenders the Bears have had over the years. And now you've watched a lot more than I have. And I think
yeah.
it's interesting. I don't think Khalil Mack deserves most of the highlight reels if you're trying to make a defensive highlight reel of old Bears. So kind of feels like a bit of a sales pitch to me, Tracks, to try and bring back the former Bears edge rusher.
You could look at it like that or say, hey, look at what we've done for you guys in the past, what we're getting ready to do. And also, like, hey guys, come on board. Be a part of this. Be a part of a legacy. Be what Khalil brought to Chicago. I see what you're saying. I know what you're cooking with. And I'm kind of curious, man. But here's the deal. I'm almost wanting to pump the brakes on that. Not if that would have came out before they got rid of Bosa, then I would have been like, okay, I feel like something's happening. But now, Michael, they got to keep one guy. Are you trying to tell me right now that that the Chargers are going to go without two edge rushers? They're going to go ahead and they're just going to draft and pick people up out of the free agency and let Mac and Bolsa go? I don't know, bro. What do you think about that?
I still think they could re-sign Bosa. I don't think it's a full-gone conclusion that
Oh,
he'll be
okay.
entirely gone. Again,
Yeah,
I think it's unlikely, but I don't think it's completely off the table that he re-signs with
yeah,
the Chargers, and they just need to get a different deal done. But yeah, you're right. It probably wouldn't make a lot of sense to lose both your edge rushers. And
yeah.
then I don't know, in the draft, they're slotted in at 22. Guy that might be there, you're looking at Nick Scorton, maybe James Pierce, maybe Mike Green falls to you
Here's the beast.
at that part in the draft. But again, typically, and I don't know what your thoughts on this Tracks are, but I don't really want a rookie edge rusher to be my main edge rusher just
No.
due to how hard that position is. And being a rookie in the league, a lot of responsibility would be put on your shoulders right away, especially for a prospect that isn't top end. If it's an Abdul Carter, you could probably get away with it, but not someone they're picking at 22.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree wholeheartedly. You don't want to get in that situation. I do kind of agree with you. I want to get it out of the draft. I feel like I wouldn't say overpaying is the right word. I just feel like there's so many needs right now that the best way to do it is to you don't win the off season in free agency. You win the offseason in the draft. And you go look at, our arch nemesis, FGB, you go look at them at one point. I'm not sure where they're at right now, but you look at that and they're like 37, 38 guys on their team. They all drafted. That's the way that you win. That's the way that you keep coming back. You get that farm system. You're a baseball guy. A farm system is very, very important and very crucial. And I think that's where we are going to see Ryan Poles build his legacy if he.
Uh-oh, his internet went out. He said that that could happen during the show. But yeah, Trax is right. You got to build up your farm system through the draft. And good thing for the Bears, they have plenty of draft capital and premium draft capital at that. Obviously, a top 10 pick right on the edge there at 10. And then you have two early second rounders almost back to back, 39 and 41 in a draft class where feels like most experts can say the talent you're going to see at pick 16 and through probably 40, maybe even 50, they're all very similar. there's not a huge drop off. Obviously, the top of the draft will have your your top talent in the draft. I don't think that'll surprise anyone, but there isn't too big of a drop off when you're looking at a late first or an early second like the Bears have. They're still going to have lots of talent to get. If you try and go do a mock draft, there's going to be talent that falls into the second round. I challenge everyone watching this to do a mock draft and fit everyone they think that should go in the first round and fit them all into the first round. It's just impossible, which leaves the opportunity for the Bears to really build that farm system early in that second round because someone's going to fall. It happens every year in the draft track. Someone falls into that second round that most people don't believe or even see it coming. And the Bears are in prime position to get one of those and build up that farm system, like you said.
Romy says it is Michael is like, that's enough Packer talk. He kicked me out of here. That's a good one, Romy. Yeah, I agree, man. But seriously, I'm just using an example. There's plenty of them out there. There's a lot of good teams out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That if you want to take the North back and never give it back, you have to get it out of the draft because you're just going to have to keep rinsing and repeating this whole free agency and overspending and all that. And the cheapest way to do it is in the draft. Not saying that you don't need guys that are in there as seasoned veterans to help bring them along. I think it's good like what Ben Johnson did, and he sprinkled in some youth, and then he's got some veteran guys in there. You got to have a little bit of both, right, Michael?
Yeah, and it kind of almost feels like Ben Johnson leads more toward that veteran presence, right? I mean,
Right.
you see the two guys he's going out to get. I mean, I'm pretty sure if he thought that rookies were important, I don't think the Bears would have traded for both these guys, right? They probably would have left one available, gone after Dalman in free agency, leave that gap at center, fill that in the draft somewhere. Kind of feels like Ben Johnson leads more toward wanting that veteran presence on the O-line. He doesn't want to have to deal with a kid maybe
Yeah.
that has to learn his way in the NFL. He wants a guy that knows exactly what he has to do, and he
Yeah.
can tell him what to do, and there's not going to be much confusion with it.
No, and to your point, if you go look at the Lions right now, if you go look at the blueprint at what he had and what he walked into, his left tackle, right tackle, I believe, and the center are veterans. They're the oldest of the bunch. The
Yeah.
left guard and the right guard, I believe, are the youngest. So he still had, by attrition, he still had, like to your point, some veterans in there, but he also sprinkled in youth. I think the way you get it right is what you're talking about. You go out and get veterans, but you also got to sprinkle the youth in and keep it, keep it moving. How you doing? Keep it moving. You don't keep just all vets in there. You got to have a little bit of attrition, guys that are groomed, brought up. And I feel like going out and getting a veteran center, in Shelton last year, I don't think that was a bad thing. What I thought was bad was that Poles didn't go out and draft him a center. And you saw with Pittsburgh, you saw with Tampa what that looks like when you go out and go get those, key veterans or rookies at center and you land them and you get the right one. I mean, Pittsburgh for a while, because they went out and got 3 rookie offensive linemen, they struggled early, but towards the end of the season, they really started to look good, bro.
Yeah, I hear you a lot, and it's a little interesting to see exactly how this all will work out. It kind of feels like they're leaning toward a veteran, so then your youngest guy or least experienced guy on your offensive line would be Darnell Wright, but he's going into his junior year. So I think there's plenty of experience there, and he's already proven he looks to be a staple at right tackle for the next 10, 15 years for the Bears. I believe he was 5th highest graded right tackle in PFF. Funny enough, 3 of the guys ahead of him were the other 3 NFC North right tackles. So it's a really good division if you're a right tackle. It also makes it hard on those pass rushers that this division has, stopping your Aiden Hutchinsons, your Zadarius Smiths,
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Van Ginkel, Kyle or Kevin Van Ginkel, I don't know, Van Ginkel of Vikings. He was a pain in the ass for a lot of NFC North teams this year. So having Darnell right there is still massive, and a lot of people have comped him to his Penei Sewell a little bit. Tracks.
Oh, you know what? I like me some Penei Sewell, and that's a guy right there. And I was talking to Jim Miller about this. He loves Will Campbell. He said, I don't care about his arm size. The guy's a beast. He's a physical specimen. You go see him in the squat rack. Everybody in the entire gym is watching him do front squats, and throwing all the freaking 45s on. They didn't have enough. You needed two dumbbells and throw some more on. It was ridiculous. The guy's strong. He's a beast. He's actually got pretty good speed considering he can do all that. And listen, he's not worried about that. And that's the same thing with Penei Sewell, dude. I love that guy. He's a monster. So you just got to go with what's available, what the best is. And like I said to you earlier, you got a guy in Dan Rushauer who's been around. They also got an assistant offensive lineman, and they've got Eric Bieniemy. And listen, who's that guy that's standing with Eric Bieniemy right here?
Yeah, Trey Smith.
And that is who he gives all the credit and the praise to. His discipline, his attention to detail, the time that he took with him. And he wasn't even an offensive line coach. He was a running back coach over there and an assistant head coach. So that is a guy that I like, and I look at three guys that can help. Brian's probably going to help out too, or not Brian, Ben is probably going to look him and help out too with that offensive line. And to your point earlier, I think that's how you get it jump started. You go out and go get those two veterans that you spoke about earlier,
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Always.
But along with that, they're all under 1-year contracts. It's not like they're extended all the way the hell out and you can't go do your due diligence and go draft some guys. I still think we go draft some offensive linemen, but here's the deal. If Ben Johnson wants 8 to 9 guys on the offensive line that are legit, I think for that very same reason, you need at least 8 guys on the defensive line. And how many can you count, Michael, that you trust that are dogs? Maybe 2, 3? 3?
Yeah, 3.
Billings is kind of like a P, because we still don't know about his durability or whatever. Great guy, but I don't think he's like a showstopper, like a guy that can just, a dominant force. So I think Sweat's there. I think he's in the conversation. Jervon Dexter, and then
you kind of lean Billings, and then it's a huge drop off.
So we still need 5 more, and that's the same way with the offensive line. So back to the point of you just can't go out and get one guy and say, all right, that's a wrap. Let's get the chip.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have depth at those positions, and you saw with Philadelphia, right, Trex? That's how they won the Super Bowl. All that depth showed up in the Super Bowl.
Yes, I love the offensive line for Denver now. Denver's finally in that discussion. But to your point, I love Philly. I love Baltimore. They've got some dogs, man. They've got some dogs. That's how, and you're going to see it with the Chargers. They are going to be legit, and that Joe Alt was a huge signing.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, and that's how Harbaugh's teams are always ran. It's you start inside and you build out. You start with those trenches and then you extend out. And starting with Joe Alt, it doesn't get much of a better start for Jim Harbaugh, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah,
I think you want to close it out, Trax. Is that good?
Yeah,
you got anything else to say?
No, I think that's pretty much it for the offensive line, Michael. I think we wrapped it up. We got a show tonight at 8:00 Central. I do want you guys to encourage and go back and look at our Hall of Fame show. We had on Eddie Payton, Walter Payton's brother, and we also had Doug Plank. Doug Plank was his friend, his teammate, and also his roommate. So there's some very spicy stories in there. Eddie Payton, his older brother, really good stuff. And then the CCO, who is on the Pro Football Hall of Fame show on Channel 88. I listen to him in the morning. Great dude, Rich, the CCO, amazing, awesome dude. Go check out that show, guys. It's on a show prior to this one. Make sure you hit that like button, comment. We're going to be working with them. Very excited. We'll be at the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year from July 31st to August 3rd. That's pretty much all I got. Michael, you got anything you want to share? Hey, I love that hat, buddy. Which one is that? Is that a Blackhawks hat?
Sure. Yeah, Blackhawks hat.
You got any breaking news or anything that you like recently? Maybe a quick 2-minute huddle on the Blackhawks?
I mean, I didn't mind their trade deadline moves today. I thought they were. Thought maybe they'd trade Donato, but keeping him isn't exactly the worst case in the world. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out, honestly.
And that what do you call it, the goalie? I thought that was a solid one, right?
Oh yeah, Spencer Knight. Yeah, the Seth Jones trade was great. Getting Spencer Knight and a first-round pick for him, that was a great move.
So I'm doing my best probably today or tomorrow. You don't have to jump on. I know you got a busy schedule as well as all our co-hosts do and our staff. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys. You're the backbone of our shows and everything that we do in our community, man. Couldn't do without you. But Michael, I'm doing my best to launch that Chicago Blackhawks what do you call it channel. That'll be your baby, dude. You're going to be leading it. I'm sure we'll have some other guys that'll step up and help you out, and I'll do the best I can. But, you know, there's not much ice in California. That's where I grew up. So I'm going to lean on you heavily. You know, I know they got a stick. I know they got a puck. And we had a guy named Gretzky who was pretty damn good. And then, you know, then Chris Chelios made me a believer in all them guys, too. So we'll work it out. We'll work it out, buddy.
Yeah, should be fun. They're going to be not maybe great this year or next year, but their time's coming. It's going to be exciting to be a hockey fan in Chicago real soon.
And I'm working on your White Hawk show still too with you and Brian. I've got some stuff we're gonna be doing more. So just hang out, guys. Obviously, All Bears is the Bears channel, but we got sub channels, Cubs channel, Bulls channel. So, but shout out to Michael, man, great guy. So thanks for coming on, dude, and thanks for letting me be a part of your solo today. Have a good weekend, buddy.
Yeah, have a good weekend for you too, Trex.
Yeah, and you guys too. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Shut down up,
Thanks for
bear
coming
down.
out.
Yep. And see you guys at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yep. Peace out. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good day.